Welcome back, my friends, to the show that never ends. We're so glad you could attend. Come inside, come inside. Welcome back, my friends.
I'm getting box office numbers up right now, too.
We're so glad you could attend.
Spider-Man made money. Hour and 40-minute spoiler review. I'm like, my God, Kate Smith. As much as I love that.
Hello, one. Hello, one. Hello, all. Welcome to the July 5th through 7th edition of Show Business. As always, I am CP.
And I'm Lindsey. Hello and welcome.
Greetings and salutations. I'm Ian Fuego from Infuegotainment and The Horror Show. Happy to be here.
Hey, all right. So what were you saying now about Spider? What? I cut you off.
We were just waxing about Kevin Smith.
Oh, Kevin Smith.
YouTube thing where he's like, it's called Silent Bob Speaks, and I guess that's his new little distinction for his solo review stuff that he does. So.
Okay.
Hey, good for him. Make that hustle, bro.
Can't wait for that Jay and Silent Bob reboot. They're apparently going to be dropping the first trailer at Comic-Con. He has a panel. It's all set up.
Oh, wow.
Ready to go.
Okay. All right. So to the week that was, somebody asked me about MIDSOMMAR, and I'm going to go ahead and read it down because MIDSOMMAR did not make the top 5, but in first was Spider-Man Far From Home at 93. Keep in mind, this is just Friday through Sunday. As of right now, I think it's at 158, and it's 5 or 6 day total, but it was in first with 93. Toy Story 4 in second with 34. Yesterday hung on in third again with 10 million. Annabelle Comes Home in fourth with 9 million. Aladdin just fading at a decent pace in fifth with 8 million. Yeah. MIDSOMMAR in sixth with 6 million. Secret Life of Pets in seventh with 5. Men in Black in eighth with 4. And oh look, the Avengers came back to come in ninth with 3 million and change.
Rocket Man in 10th.
Threshold then.
There you go, Lindsey. Rocket Man in 10th. Let him know.
And yet, yesterday it's still making a little bit of money. My folks went and saw it for my modest recommendation. I'm like, if you guys like the Beatles, I mean, go see it. You'll probably have enough fun with it. And they're big Lily James fans. They've liked her since Cinderella. So.
Oh, Lily James from Baby Driver?
Indeed.
Yeah.
Yep. Driver, Pride and Prejudice and Zombies. She's great. I actually did not know she was British.
Oh, really?
Oh. Knowing half the battle. Go Joe.
I just think it's funny with all the volatility in the box office that there's only been 2 movies in third place for the last month plus. It's been Aladdin and Yesterday in third. That's it. Meanwhile, first through whatever, it's just been chaos.
Guys, I got a business model for a studio. We shoot for third place.
And just stay there.
Yeah. If we hit second, cool. Third.
What do you guys say? We all saw the two big ones. So what shall we start with? Lindsey. I think Lindsey actually is really wanting to praise MIDSOMMAR. So
don't you mean MIDSOMMAR?
MIDSOMMAR.
So MIDSOMMAR is a very interesting movie because I don't feel like it did enough to really justify a lot of the stuff that it did, but I also loved it. So it's like a weird mishmash of half thought up things that I don't feel like all really paid off, but I still liked them, and the imagery was dope, and Show favorite Kin, the Christian was the brother in Kin. So this movie gave me flashbacks to my favorite movie of 2018. So I couldn't hate it.
Yeah, no, it looked fantastic.
It
know,
did.
Ari Aster's got a certain look to him.
Mm-hmm.
But
well,
what was that?
I mean, set design, costuming, the fact that everything was done so delightfully and brightfully, in the daytime and everything. It's a great looking movie, and I've still contended that I don't despise this movie or anything. I found it kind of underwhelming.
Yeah, I see. It's I'm not a big folk horror guy, and this it just screams Wicker Man to me, for a couple of reasons. Emily's like, "Well, the bear,"
without a doubt.
And I'm like, "Oh yeah, I didn't even think about that."
Oh really?
Yeah, I literally didn't even think about that for some stupid reason. But yeah, I felt like it was a little too funny in the first act, like it was a little too silly, and some stuff in it that I would assume is supposed to hit hard and evoke one feeling. It did the opposite for me, like lots of nudity, lots of everybody having some sex, and
that scene. Do you guys think it was supposed to be funny?
I don't. But my theater was rolling.
Same.
It's an interesting thing, the line between laugh and scare is pretty fine sometimes. Like,
the fine line between clever and stupid, right?
Yeah, also that's also very true. And like when someone starts pushing on something so that they can get it, it's just like I'm like, oh my god, this is hilarious. This is absolutely hilarious. Like, I was the only person in my theater laughing, but I was loving as I laughed at it. So I'm like, yes, Ari, just go there, be that weird asshole, sir.
Oh, so you were the only one laughing.
Yeah, well, I think the rest of my theater was pretty weirded out by it. It got weirdly silent. Like, there was, like, always something going on. There was just silent during that scene.
Mine was the polar opposite, where it was, you would have thought you were watching, like, a Farrelly Brothers movie or something. It was way too much laughter. I'm just like, I don't feel this. I don't know why this entire room feels like this. So, just a bunch of... sometimes the people you experience a movie with kind of ruins your experience, and I don't know. I'm not against seeing it again.
And yet the person who I know was deliberately trying to be funny, Will Poulter, was not funny to me. He was just nails on a chalkboard annoying to me. I did not like his character at all.
I love Eyebrows Kid. Like, he's so good. But, he was kind of the asshole. And the irredeemable asshole? Like, yeah. Like, maybe we're really not supposed to relate to him, but maybe that's also just bad writing. Who knows?
The Pennywise that almost was from Poulter.
Oh, that would have been so crazy. Those eyebrows on that makeup, man. I would have loved to have seen that.
It would have been interesting. Although I have to say, I laughed CP so hard when I was watching Cody's review, and he was like, the weird, like, lost sibling of Chris Pratt and flippin' Seth Rogen or whatever the hell, because that's exactly what that boyfriend looked like. Like, the hell?
Oh, yeah, the star of 2018's movie of the year, Kin. Yeah, Jack Ryder or something like that. Yeah.
He looked like a long-lost sibling of some strange sort between the two of them. Like, they're weird, man-child or something. I don't know.
I can see that.
So there's a lot of I mean, again, this is just as divisive as Hereditary was last year with, oh my god, it's incredible, and oh my god, it's terrible. I wouldn't say, it's terrible. I'm not exactly warm to it. I gave it a 2.5 out of 5, which is, pedestrian. But is it arguable that it's the best horror film of 2019 so far?
No way.
I'm just glad somebody else said it, because I think...
Maybe I just can't think of a good horror movie. What's a good horror movie that's come out this year, just out of curiosity?
Well, it's a 2-horse race between this and Us, and those are the two that everybody...
Us.
It's coming too still, yeah.
I mean, I enjoyed Us more, but I don't know. I almost feel like I need to consult my my letterbox, because I've already seen like almost 80 movies this year, and I was
good for you.
Point. Yeah, I was at the halfway point, and I was looking. I'm like, shit, I've seen a lot of stuff already this year.
That's awesome.
I thought The Headhunter was really good. Boy, I mean, I'll Take Your Dead, fantastic film. That's from the same guys, Black Fawn Pictures, who did
Yeah, what's that other one that you recommended? You and Cecil, the Trap the Devil? Is that what it's called? I Trap the Devil or something like that?
That's the IFC Midnight, I want to say, or IFC something of that. Yeah, that one was really solid.
Yeah.
I mean, I can already think of a few that I felt eclipsed in quality Midsommar, but maybe it's. I mean, both that and Us are masterfully made films from a technical standpoint.
Yes, of course.
Yeah.
I also love how weirdly funny they both are, in addition to being unsettling. I kind of want to see the Ari Aster Jordan Peele crossover movie where like they like dual direct, or one writes, the other directs. Like I think that'd be fun.
No, they're all on each other's nuts, man. He interviewed him for Fangoria.
Did he?
Right.
Yeah, Jordan Peele interviewed Ari and just praised the hell out of the film, and so yeah.
Okay.
I mean, they're both very talented. It's just from a writing standpoint, I wasn't over the moon about either of those films, actually.
So one of my favorite horrors of 2019 still is the Child's Play remake, which believe it or not, I something that's really kind of getting under my skin, being with my finger faintly on the pulse in the horror tube community, is the proclamation that the 2019 Child's Play is a failure, and I'm here to say that I'm sorry, guys. That's just not accurate.
Currently, it is sitting at.
I got stats up because that's how pissed off I got.
Let's have it, bro.
It had the highest opening weekend out of any Child's Play film. It currently grossed in the North American. It's currently barely behind Child's Play 2, which it's Child's Play, the original Child's Play 1988 with 33 million, Bride of Chucky with 32, Child's Play 2 with 29, and 2019 is at 27 and change. 2019 will pass Child's Play 2. By the way, it hasn't been released across seas yet. It hasn't been released internationally. I'm sorry, you're this comparisons to Halloween and it and stuff like that. It's apples and tennis balls. I'm sorry, you just there's no way you can make this comparison. Like yeah, sure, Sonic can't sell like McDonald's, but they're not, yes, they're sort of the same, but they're not the same. A Child's Play 2019 is doing just fine. It's not a failure. Like people say,
Also, it's a good movie.
Oh I quite enjoy it. Yeah,
I don't hate it. I do not hate it.
I
Cecil hates it, but
it seems like there's this movement of like diehard Chucky fans who are just like, no, because Mancini, meh. And it's like kind of like spread off into this weird thing where it's just like trying to announce any sort of fault with the money, and it's just, I'm sorry guys, it didn't fail. That's
hashtag not my Chuck. Please tell me that's an actual hashtag.
If not, it needs to be.
Right.
So CJM75 says Child's Play has been released in some markets overseas, 6.5 million. If that's accurate, let me get my numbers back up then.
It's possible.
So 6.5 plus 27 already puts it ahead of Bride of Chucky. So it is ahead of Bride of Chucky. All it has left is the original Child's Play. So it's the second highest grossing Child's Play with some markets left to open.
Just for record's sake, I don't have a specific number here, but I got a long list of numbers from countries, and it looks like it adds up to about 6 million. It's a lot of numbers, so I'm not going to add it all up, but it looks close.
Yeah, we'll call it 6, and they're not done. Yeah. They're like, I know Germany, that good friend of the show has mentioned it a few times. They're waiting for it. They're waiting for it in a week or two. So I know Dennis in Denmark hasn't gotten it yet. He's getting it in late July. So, is it a massive success? No, of course not. But it's by the franchise standards, it's doing just fine. If not,
it's a Blumhouse success. That's all it needs to be. Is it Blumhouse or is it someone else?
Don't get me started on that name. We'll talk about him later.
Oh, I know. I was trying to trigger you there.
If I'm not mistaken, it's an MGM.
Yes.
So it was a
Okay,
weird thing where the rights, were like co-owned because of the fact that first Child's Play film was released, when there was an affiliation between Universal and UAMGM and stuff. So yeah.
Interesting.
But talk about a franchise entry that just crushed Spider-Man.
Hey.
Did.
Yeah.
Look at this guy, pro at segues here. Nice.
Love it.
All right, go ahead. I got the imagery. You go ahead and do the talking.
Yeah. I mean, I honestly, I love this movie. I did not think I was going to love it as much as I did, and just heading into it, I had some, reservations about Homecoming, and while I enjoyed specifically Tom Holland in the role, I wasn't as big on Zendaya and like this different take on MJ and the different Flash and some of the other stuff. But as a whole, since this time when I approached, I was already accepting of these changes and stuff, and I felt like it took all of the DNA of this previous Homecoming film and just refined everything with better action sequences, more compelling storytelling, a damn good mid-credit scene. I mean, that
the mid-credit scene is good. Yes.
I jumped out of my seat. I was so happy. So yeah, I thought that, and once you kind of get the vibe of what Jake Gyllenhaal's Mysterio was actually doing, I was like, the movie turned a compelling corner for me, and I was like, I'm so about this. So, How about you guys? What'd you think?
Lindsey?
I quite liked it. I wasn't really sure what part of me was like, so is this actually going to be a Mysterio from another universe, and that's going to set up Mysterio to come into the Marvel movies, and they're like, oh, he's a good guy, but no, he's a bad guy. Like I was willing to go there, but it was still handled really quite well. Like it's I don't think it's a spoiler to say that, but it's just a fun little movie. It's really funny. And parts in the middle do sag. I feel like it was like 15 minutes you could have cut out of like the middle-ish. But it was just cute and fun, and that's all I loved how it handled the post-Endgame stuff. It was just funny.
Yeah,
and after being dour and depressing.
Yeah. Even still a little heavy-hitting with the emotion there. I mean, you figured out why they wanted you to see Endgame, because, oh boy, Tony Stark was
everywhere.
Quite a big piece of this movie. So, it'd be a shame to walk into this movie somehow not having seen Endgame. But it would. I felt like the glasses. I mean, obviously it's a crucial part to the film. But it was a neat little touch.
I made me wonder what happened to Karen, the AI that Spider-Man had in the previous movie.
Good call. I mean,
it's
not at all.
It's the minorest of plot holes, but it did kind of make me go like, oh, so how many AIs does he have now? Can he like have a conversation with all of them?
She's gone because movie.
Okay, that's fair.
I saw it in 3D, which I really am not one to sing praises of 3D that much lately, but there are 2 or 3 scenes in that movie that really are accompanied by the 3D really does well in this film, and like
I agree.
As somebody who to get back to the film itself, as somebody who has fatigue, I was okay with this. It was just a right amount of fun, a little childish, but of course they're teenagers. Although, again, going back to that, wait a minute, how are they still in high school? But whatever, I digest.
And also,
so I guess Mary Jane and Ned both got blipped or snapped or whatever you want to call it too.
Yeah. Well, and also the irony of that, Peter and his entire circle of people were all blipped, from his aunt to his friend to his rival. That's rather convenient, And I mean, just to kind of piggyback off what CP said, this, even though I love Spider-Man 2 and it's still maybe my favorite of all, like any Spider-Man film period, I do feel like, whereas this was maybe more fun, that just feels more like for adults, whereas this did feel very, very kiddie. Even like the cute little kiss between the two of them when they finally kiss. It's like, okay, this isn't upside down Spider-Man 1, like mooch status. It's very much high school, and but for fun purposes, I enjoyed it quite a bit. And some of those trip out scenes where Mysterio is kind of Like there's one with a character coming out of a grave that I was like, damn, this is like full blown horror. This is really dope. And I did not see it in 3D, unfortunately. I saw it at the IMAX.
Wow. Okay.
22% on each side of the screen or whatever. But yeah, it did seem like a few scenes in particular of awesome action would have lent themselves to that medium. So
Yeah, it's strange, the extra childishness of the romance would have fit in something like Spider-Verse. I feel like that fits like that deal a bit more. We didn't talk about the money. I had it up briefly.
It did quite well.
Yeah. So you look at again opening weekend. So these numbers don't count the Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and it scooped up another 60 million there. So Far From Home is smack dab in the middle of the Spider-Man franchise with a 93 million opening weekend. Spider-Man
did better than Amazing Spider-Man 2. Yes.
Barely did. Yeah. So on the low end, you have Into the Spider-Verse with 35. I don't know how that happened. And then
Life's Not Fair. That's how that happened.
Yeah. the
weird release cycle.
Well, yeah. You look at the bottom half. The Amazings are down there, but then Spider-Man 2 is the sixth highest opening weekend with 88
That is interesting.
million. Spider-Man 2 could be the best, it's arguable that could be the best comic book movie, let alone Spider-Man movie.
Well, I mean, you do see the results of that, because look, Spider-Man 3 rallied and is the most successful of them with 151. Everyone is like, oh, wait, we were wrong about Spider-Man 2. We need to go see Spider-Man 3. Oh, no, Spider-Man 3 was terrible.
Oh, wait, apologies.
Oh my God, Spider-Man is Venom.
And for those who are listening, we have visual aids, and I will read it to you now. The opening weekends, the highest opening weekend for Spider-Man was Spider-Man 3 with 151. Next, Spider-Man Homecoming with 117. The original 2002 Spider-Man with 115. Far From Home in fourth with 93. Amazing Spider-Man 2 just under it in fifth with 92. Spider-Man 2 is in sixth with 88. The Amazing Spider-Man in seventh with 62 million. And Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse at the bottom of the list with 35 million. This is only opening weekend.
Man. I'm still upset about that.
Just an awesome thing to keep in mind, though. This film, it's been out for about a week now, right? So at the worldwide box office, already over $500 million.
Yeah.
And 577, 766. It's crazy. It's going to continue to crush, I would imagine. We'll even see those little Avengers numbers get padded a little bit too, right?
Yeah. The Avengers tally. Let's do that mandatory. We're about 11 million away from the eventual Avatar break. So
the inevitability, as we all presume.
It's going to happen. Just how long it takes.
Funny. I just wanted to check just for fun to see how Spider-Man Far From Home was doing in the UK.
Okay.
It hasn't been released there yet.
Are you kidding me?
No.
Wow.
All right. Funny. Anyway, go ahead, sir.
That's quite funny.
I mean, they've just barely gotten. I mean, $160 million production budget. So you got to figure that times it by 2 for the marketing and everything. So I mean, they're already in the profit margin, but not by a hefty amount. So it's still gonna.
Is it above Toy Story already? I remember looking at some point last week, and it was kind of close already.
577.
651.
Okay, it's Toy Story 4 is up by 80.
Okay, that might get passed.
Well, that's at worldwide. Domestically, 185.
It's got to be ahead.
Yeah, I mean, domestic Toy Story is already
307.
306. Yeah, right. Okay, I tried.
Yeah, no, it's just funny that so worldwide, Spider-Man's probably gonna kind of cruise past Toy Story, which is, I don't know. Maybe the rest of the world doesn't like little toys. It's Pixar.
How dare Keanu Reeves not make as much money as Tom Holland?
And speaking of terrible Keanu Reeves, I watched that Replicants or Replicas or whatever movie the other night, and that is just a god-awful mess. My goodness.
So bad.
Oh.
Yeah. Jesus.
it's almost like I almost want people to watch it just so they can see like just how to not make a movie, how to not tell a story.
Well, and they spent like $30 million on that movie. It made like $6 million worldwide, and you're just like, wow! In a year where he does so great with John Wick, and then
it was done. It was
on his record.
It was done in 2018. Like they shelved it for a while too. So they just buried it and threw it out in January. That and what's that Matthew McConaughey movie that Lindsey just loves?
Serenity.
Definitely reviewed that movie. I must say, of all the movies I've watched this year, I don't know if any have pissed me off as much as that particular movie. My God, was that just an infuriating film for me?
Yeah.
I mean, between that and Beach Bum, I'm like, McConaughey, what are you doing with right now? I've watched 2 pieces of crap that you made.
Listen, Lincoln's paying the bills just fine, so he could fart around it seems.
Yeah, he's doing okay.
Well,
Lincoln, I've been thinking, what the hell have you been drinking?
Speaking of being pissed off, tonight's episode. Tonight's episode was supposed to run late as I had an invitation to a test screening here in Long Island.
Can we know what the movie was?
I guess I can say it because I didn't attend the screening. So let me get the story out. I was invited to a screening, same connections that I have for screeners in the city, although it's a test screening, which means, CGI isn't properly rendered. There's stuff that just aren't, just not complete about the movie. So I get in line, and you have to sign a ton of paperwork saying you're not going to talk about it, this, that, the other thing. Here I am talking about it.
Well, you didn't see it, so it's
right,
okay.
right. So I get to the front to where they give you the armbands, the wristbands, to let you in, and the guy's like, "Wait a minute, you're a movie YouTuber." I was like, "Yeah." Part of me was like, "Oh, you recognize me?" But
That's amazing.
But it's like, "Yeah, no, you can't see this." I'm like, "What?" He's like, "Yeah, I'll buy you a ticket for something else. You're a journalist." And I'm like, "Dude, you're offering to buy me a ticket to a different movie because I cover movies. Do you think that's going to make me feel better at all?" And they kicked me out. Jason Blum was there.
Oh, shit.
I was so flabbergasted that I got kicked out of this dumb test screening that I would have went over to him and been like, "All right, well, let me risk an interview or something." So what I can say, I can confirm there was like pseudo buzz that because Jason Blum sent out a text saying he's in Long Island for a test screening. It is not Halloween 2020.
Well, that's not even done filming yet, right?
Yeah, I don't even think they've started filming that yet.
That's about. Oh wait, they're starting in October. Wasn't that like a thing?
Right.
Yeah,
Yep.
okay,
Right.
okay.
That was the story that hit recently.
I guess what I can say is when the movie comes out, I'm gonna run away from that one, sweetheart. Not gonna be a fan no matter what.
Wait, what was it?
If it's a Blumhouse movie, through process of elimination, we can look at their remaining schedule throughout the rest of this year and maybe what it could potentially be.
Listen, I wouldn't run out of my way to check it out if I were you.
So it's a Runaways movie.
Also, my least favorite candy is Sweet Tarts.
Ugh. I'm not a...
I like Sweet Tarts, actually. Screw you. Runaway Sweethearts. Okay, so it's about kids running away from home and they're cute.
Oh, pretty close. Yeah, whatever you said. So the it was super secretive. The one thing that I've been to test screenings before too. That's what's frustrating. Right. I was at a test screening for what's the Cam movie that is also Blumhouse, Unfriended. I was at that. And that
Dark
had
Web, whatever,
no the first one.
Okay.
And it was just okay, you're a movie YouTuber, whatever. You just sign paperwork. What about the fact that what does my status have anything to do with this contract? Which makes me think it's going to be even 10 times worse. But
maybe they're cracking down on these screenings. I've gone to a couple of them, and I always just lie and just say, "Yeah, no, I'm a dude."
Yeah, had I known, I would have done it. So this was a test screening, And the one thing I did do was take note of the people that were there, and it could be the most diverse audience you've ever seen. White, black, Hispanic, old, young, and the small description of the film was feminist horror. And listen, on stereotype alone, at least 40% of those people look like they would never go see something feminist horror, and there they were for a free ticket. So,
I mean, it's a free movie's a free movie.
Yeah, no, and that's part of the problem with test screenings. And who knows what I'm dying to know what the movie's like, just to see what the finished product would have been, because people like that shouldn't have so much power. Who knows what type of decisions will be made? Like they might reshoot the third act because they didn't get a good response.
Well, I know for a fact they've done that.
Yeah.
Sinister 2, which I hated it, but when I saw it at a super early screening, the ending was very different than the ending in the final product.
Hell, I mean, even earlier this year, Pet Sematary, they filmed 2 endings. There was the original scripted ending, and then there was this other one, which ended up becoming the finished product ending. And yeah, they tested both with audiences, and they ended up going with not the original scripted one. They went with the second. I guess it's going to be on the Blu-ray release from what I was reading, but yeah, it dictates a ton.
Yeah.
And
it should, like, if they're going to do that, they should at least cater to, all right, what audience are you trying to reach? And not have it be, all right, let's have something, let's not, have every base covered. And these you probably know this, Jaime. A lot of the paperwork is, are you white, Hispanic, old? Like they make you fill this stuff out, and it's just like, why is that important? Why shouldn't it be? What's your favorite type of movie? What do you normally leave the house for? Stuff like that. That should be the important thing. How do we get you out of the house? Not, what part of the country do you live in? What is your skin color?
Well, I completely agree with you, but it's like they're always trying to break everything down into demographics.
Yeah.
Because demographics fit nicely onto charts. It's a little, it's dehumanizing, and they're getting bad results, but they also have enough of an effective track record, so they're going to stick with it. It's I don't know. I guess you could do the way that you said, like, so this is a movie that's probably gonna be really big for teenagers and like young people, like and like maybe like 16 to 30 or something like that. Yeah. Maybe you should shoot for that target, but just to make sure that their target audience likes the movie. But everyone always wants their movie to be good for everyone. They always want the biggest audience. It's not just about like finding. I mean, sometimes it's about finding your niche. That's all Jason Blum does usually. Yeah. Get horror niche. But it's. You want the wide audience normally. You don't want the specific audience, which is a mistake, I think, because if you cater to your specific audience.
Sure. I'll tell you what intrigues me more than anything is the fact that the only thing that they let out on the pamphlet was feminist horror, and I'm dying to know what the script is like in the early stages in 2019. I mean, how many movies have we talked about where there's been feminism shoehorned?
Well, I mean, they don't, just because a lot of horror actually could be surprisingly defined as feminist, especially in the last few years. Well, like, what was it, Assassination Nation, Midsommar?
Black
you could
Christmas,
easily make
they're repositioning to be that too this later on this year.
Yeah.
Well, and I mean, lots of people have even said, for the sheer fact that the final girl has been a trope within horror for decades at this point. Yeah. So that honestly champions feminism right there too. I mean, like. I am woman, hear me roar in badassness against this oppressive, usually male force that's trying to kill me. And so,
that's a good point, actually. Yeah, it's like what is it, like 80-90% of horror movies or villains are dudes? How many are girls? Not usually ghosts if it's a woman, right?
Yeah,
it's
really, or Japanese usually. It's a bit different.
And I mean, for me, it's kind of an unsettling trope within horror, and the fact that men trying to kill women, it's pretty messed up. But yeah, we see it all the time. So right above.
So
yeah, well, we're getting into some deep territory here on this stuff.
So while we're on some hot topics, you might as well stick to the big news for the week there that broke the internet.
Oh yeah.
Talk about Sly segue, sir.
Yeah. So Halle Bailey has been cast as Ariel in the live-action Little Mermaid movie.
How many people do you think accidentally see Halle Berry?
You
I
know,
the Halle Bailey, Hallelujah. I'm thinking of the the Kendrick song.
I
Halle
am
Bailey.
wow.
I am one of them. I was like, oh, Halle Berry, that little old, but oh, all right, I'll take it.
She still looks great for her age, and I'm just like, hey.
So I guess we'll just run the gamut this week. What about a a fictional being needs to be race related? Anybody who wants to take it.
Honestly, as long as she's a good actress with a voice on her, like, I don't care. I mean, that's my default position on this stuff usually, but I'm just reinforcing it. Like, as long as she's not up there going like, "I am Ariel, I swim in water." Like, yeah, sure, good for her. She's probably gonna get a lot of work after this, and her career is exploding. That's always a good thing in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Well, did the original Hans Christian Andersen actually describe skin color? The book? I don't necessarily think so,
Yeah.
but.
Just scaly, but in a hot way.
Yeah. This is Disney like remaking in a live action setting something they've already done animated. So I'm assuming since there was already that visual correlation, that's why there's so much up in armsness about this. Yeah, I'll side with Lindsey over this. I mean, hey, if she's a terrific actress and she can
It
sing,
shouldn't matter, right?
notably, it doesn't matter. I'm honestly stoked about Melissa McCarthy as Ursula. I think that's badass. So yeah, that's the
Actually,
cast.
I caught an interesting screening of sorry to cut you off of Little Mermaid a few years ago here in at the Hollywood Bowl, and Rebel Wilson played Ursula, or at least she did like the dub over for the singing, and I was like, that's interesting, but then she was kind of boring, and so I'm like, oh, Melissa McCarthy, that's fun. Oh, please don't Rebel Wilson it. And I usually love Rebel Wilson. That was the funny part. She like phoned it in. Maybe she's just not a good stage performer, but I don't know. It doesn't matter.
Wait. I need to take 2 steps backwards because the lovely Miss Emily of Emily's Adventures in Horrorland is in the YouTube chat, and she says, comment from an article about this movie. You know what's real feminist horror? Working for Blumhouse.
Whoa!
Oh, boy. I'll tell you what, if I worked for that company, I would run. Run, sweetheart. Run away.
Run so far away, you gotta get away.
Yeah.
Or Run Lola Run. That's what it was.
No,
Yeah.
I've said the title.
I know. I just wanted to make a Run Lola Run reference.
So then, did she head down with you too, and she was also
Yeah.
turned away?
Yeah.
Or,
Well, she had no choice. I was dragging her with me.
yeah.
Well, yeah, because they had paperwork, and at that point, it was just like, you know what, I want to be able to throw a stink. So
Yeah. Oh, rightfully so.
Yeah.
The first time I ever went to one of those, I saw someone get thrown out, and it was an actor I actually did recognize. And I was like, oh fuck, frick, that's our one.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, I can't remember his name right now. Maybe it'll come to me in a second. But
he got thrown out because he was an actor.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm like, I work at a restaurant. I'm just a dude. I don't do nothing.
So like anyone with any industry connection is where they just do not want, they want that pure outside perspective, obviously, with these sort of test screenings, which I guess makes sense, but
That's cool, but don't invite me then. Like,
seriously.
that's where it starts and ends.
You're not wrong about that.
Right. I would love to not hear about it. Just don't tease me like that.
Yeah.
So Little Mermaid, I guess I'll play a little bit with Devil's Advocate. Do you think there's a certain point where they go too far out of their way to be inclusive, or just change things up just for the sake of doing it? Because there are these, I feel like there are these drastic reactions in both directions. And it's just making it worse and worse. And I listen, I'm with anybody. If the movie's great, I don't care who it is. Have a dog play the mermaid. I don't care.
That would be amazing.
And again,
I'm going to see that version.
And again, it's a mermaid. It's not a real person. Like
Her dog.
Dog Maid.
Dog Maid.
That sounds like a Hulu series, right? Yeah.
It does kind of, yeah, like the kid version of Handmaid's Tale.
So do you guys think that they're perhaps they're consciously going out of their way to I don't know, cast in a certain direction just for, PR's sake, not for the best acting option?
I mean, I've seen these things go wrong. Like, there's Ghost in the Shell a few years back where, like, oh, we cast Scarlett Johansson, and this should have gone for an Asian lady. But then in the movie, they make it a plot line that she was Asian, but now she's white. And I'm like, I think that just made it worse, guys.
That was the way of trying to cover their asses. And when that bit even came up in the film, I'm like, oh, so they're trying to explain it away. But
yeah. Just best to ignore it at that point, but they swung into it. But yeah, so as long as they don't do something like that, I think it's okay. Like, maybe if there's, like, they completely inverse it, and so everyone is, all the mer people are black, and then they, like, call attention to it, like, oh, the white mer people died out 500 years ago, when no, I mean, that, maybe that's too much. I don't know, though. It's just a movie, and it's kids, and kids just want to look at people and do silly things, Yeah.
Well, to be the Stephen King psycho that I am and everything, a couple years ago we had The Dark Tower, and as much as I'd love it, just fantastic actor. When in the source material he's being described as, white skin, blue eyes, very much like Clint Eastwood, and then you go completely different with the casting. That's the only time where I'm just like, what are you trying to do here? I don't know. Personal opinion there, obviously, because I don't know. I hated that movie, and it wasn't.
It's a bad movie.
It's really bad, and for somebody who holds the source material in such high regard, it was especially aggravating because I didn't dislike him in the role, but it really just was not the way the gunslinger has been shown on every book and described in the material. So that's where I just want to be intent in scenarios like that.
I think a lot of the problem is people treat fiction like it's fact. Like, you wouldn't, like, if The Rock played Hitler, it'd be a little funky. You'd be like, oh, why that? But,
I mean, although now that you said that, I kind of want to see Rock.
Now I want that.
I want that little mustache on that big man.
But so people, I think there's this. Okay, this is what this looks like to me, so I know what it looks like, and that. There's no way it's different, and I think there needs to be a little unprogramming of people because fictional characters are just that. Like. And J.K. Rowling tends to get a little trolling done where she runs amok. And what are you pointing at, Lindsey?
White Tim in our chat, because if you watch us live and not just on the podcast, you get to chat with us. White Tim, one of our frequenters, just made a really good point. Something I frequently forget about and need to not forget about it. They race bent Lavender Brown in the Harry Potter movies, and then unrace bent her so she could be white just in time for her to have a love thing with Ron Weasley in the sixth movie. I mean, she never really said anything in any of the previous movies, but it was a different actress, and
it's just like I don't like if it's somebody, if it's based on somebody real. And you know what? Even what's that movie about Bob Dylan where a bunch of people played Bob Dylan?
Well, I'm
not there. Yeah.
Yeah, where they had, I mean, hey, they even had, Blanchett?
Yeah,
or was
Kate Blanchett played him.
I always get Tilda and Blanchett mixed up sometimes, but yeah, nonetheless, yeah.
So, it's art in the end, if people are going to do their things, but should we really be getting pissed like this? No, but...
Oh, no.
I think there's this pendulum swing, and the more people get outraged, the more these giant studios who are trying to do the PR thing, the PC thing, just swing in the other direction.
thing.
And it's can we just talk about the quality of the movie? Well,
I mean, people love to get upset about casting, and I will not deny that I've gotten upset about it before. I was totally against Ben Affleck as Batman. I wear that shame on my sleeve because he was actually pretty all right. But then there's also the times where we're right. We're like the Joker and what's his name? Like, God, was that horrible, and God, did everybody know that was going to be horrible, and why did you do it? But yeah, go ahead. That's cool. You're wrong. But no, I'm kidding.
Listen, the fact of the matter is, just let Storm play the Little Mermaid, and just move on.
I will continue to be anxious about the Dark Tower cast.
That was a Halle Berry joke, Lindsey. Lindsey's like, wait, what was it? Storm? No, thanks for ruining it, though.
I'm sorry.
So, while we're on the casting kick, Ghostbusters announced a couple more names on top of. I'm not sure if we were live for Paul Rudd. If that was
I actually mentioned it after we went off air, so I was like, we didn't get the chance to discuss it.
Right, so this is us catching up. Paul Rudd was one of the first big names. Carrie Coon and Finn Wolfhard from Stranger Things. And I'll be honest, I don't know who Finn Wolfhard is other than an incredible sounding porn name.
It is a great porn name. But he's
Finn
Mike
Wolfhard?
on Stranger Things.
Yeah. And yet, boy, seeing how grown up those kids are now, it's kind of, I don't know, it's kind of sad.
I love how awkward. Like, I think the guy playing Mike is doing a really good job. Just be like, I'm a teen. I'm just like, I'm uncomfortable.
Which is the one with the is he the one with the lisp? I've only watched season 1.
Oh no, that's Dustin. So the one who's hiding the girl in his basement is Finn Wolfhard.
And he's finally getting some kissing action going down. Like at the beginning of season 3, I'm like, man, they're just going at it like don't puppies or something. Like, my God.
Okay, so it's strange. Things. the you have quite a few different generations there. I'm just speculating on the casting that we've seen. What do you think they're doing with this Reitman Ghostbusters?
I'm honestly really curious if they're doing the Guy Busters like was rumored a few years ago at this point. Remember where they were like they're going to have like Seth Rogen and Paul Rudd, and I think maybe was Kevin Hart rumored at one particular point? I can't recall, but they were.
I bet he's being talked about now.
Yeah, well, I mean, they were going to have all of the older original Ghostbusters, and they were going to be giving some tutelage and kind of bringing new Ghostbusters under their wing, sort of thing. I'm wondering if that's going to happen now, just with younger kids, but we're still supposed to have cameos of the surviving original 3 in this, so I don't really know if they're just hodgepodging and putting all of this together from all these half-baked ideas over the years.
Yeah, maybe it's like Jedi Temple, and there's just a whole bunch of different Ghostbusters of different ages, sizes, ilk, sexes, races, creeds, cats, dogs, living together, all of it. Everyone's a Ghostbuster in the new one, and it'll be a lot easier to just shut up about if there's no real 4 guys, 4 girls. Here it is. Here's a senior citizen. Here's a Ghostbuster dog, and just.
I know they won't do it, but I think it'd be really cool if they did like 2 and 2. You know what I mean? Like 2 guys, 2 girls.
Sure.
Like Paul Rudd, Seth Rogen, and.
Seen videos like that before.
Or you know what? If it's a genuine sequel, just have it like it's got to be a bit of a corporation by now, right? What if it's like a for at least a little bit, just like a crappy office with all different types of people. Like there's somebody who hates his job, like a janitor. Like at the core, the Ghostbusters is about a startup. That's what Ghostbusters essentially is about. Well, not essentially, but it's
a surprisingly capitalist movie when you go back and watch it today. Like I'm not even saying that to get political. Like it's a super Reaganomics going. Like that's what the whole first act they're talking about is, where they're like mortgaging the house and stuff like that. It's literally the text of the movie.
Third mortgage. Money off of others, misfortunes and stuff. They have a haunting going down, and we're gonna exploit that aspect.
Yeah,
right. As they're drinking like alcohol at the public library or whatever. Like I love Ghostbusters.
And eating Twinkies, and I mean, I have to say though, they are billing it as kind of a soft requel, right? So it's going to be like a reboot / sequel kind of thing, a la Force Awakens status, which is really what I'm anticipating from this film, And but you've got Janine coming back, you've got Sigourney Weaver coming back. So it is going to have all of that connective tissue. I mean, I know all of us are holding out hope for Rick Moranis to come out of retirement and maybe do a camp. Awesome. Stop drinking the strange brews. Your kids are all grown up. Everything's okay now. But yeah.
And could you imagine that surprise cameo, the Rick Moranis? That would be amazing.
It would be like a J. Jameson level of surprise.
Yeah. Imagine if they ever did that.
Only time will tell, I suppose.
Yeah. They'll get it for Spider-Man 25. Don't worry.
Another piece of news that was announced was they're starting a Big Lebowski spin-off titled Jesus Rolls, set for release. What was that?
You don't F with the Jesus, right?
Yeah.
I guess, yeah.
Coming out in 2020. Guys,
sure.
how do you feel about a sidequel to a movie that is 20 years old and probably isn't something you would consider a sequelable movie?
Well, who's going to be the main character? Is it going to be the dude?
Is it?
That's what I'm saying. Is it going to be Jeff Bridges or is it going to be someone else?
Turturro.
I think it's going to be John Turturro just taking the front line, and it's going to be his movie. So I would imagine maybe we'll see a cameo from Bridges and maybe some of those other characters. I mean, probably no Buscemi, obviously, but
right.
Well,
a little John Goodman in there, like I'd be down for that.
Yeah, it's just strange when I think of the Big Lebowski. I don't think, oh yeah, I want to hear more from them. I mean, it's a great movie. It's just contained. Like, what else do you need from that universe? And why now? What's this 20 years bullshit?
If I'm not mistaken, Turturro's been trying to get this project off the ground for a long time, and if I remember the report from Deadline correctly, he's like, this is not a Coen thing. This is him taking that character. I think he's writing it and directing it and starring in it.
What?
I almost want to bring up the story just to double check. But...
You know, it sounds a lot like Bill and Ted 3. Like, listen, just because you're not getting work. What was that? What was it?
Well, which started filming. It's a go. It's actually
Yeah.
I'm excited. I shouldn't be, but I'm excited.
Me too, especially with adding like Samara Weaving and some of these other characters. I'm just like, okay, now you kind of have me.
Yeah,
but
Keanu doesn't need the work, but
no, yeah, right. But what's his face?
Yeah, see, I already forgot his name. The blonde. What's his face? Yeah, of course he wants Bill and Ted 3 to happen. He's got nothing else going on. So of course Turturro.
New Lost Boys spin off on the CW.
Right, exactly. Like, yeah, no, that's great that you want work, but these are stories we're talking about. Like, what does it make sense? Do your
so
own thing.
on that note, I'll say this. I'll be the devil's advocate this time. So did the world really need Rosencrantz and Guildenstern are dead? The absurdist comedy about two bit characters from a Shakespeare play most people will never see or read. But someone went and wrote Rosencrantz anyway, and it's pretty good.
Dude, I need some sort of roadmap to whatever it is you're talking about, because
oh, sorry.
Yeah.
I'm talking about this reboot quill to Big Lebowski. Do we need it? No. But with that kind of weird world and small character, maybe you could churn out interesting. Okay. Yes, I'm sorry. I
don't talk about book stuff with me. I'm those paper movies don't fly with me. Sorry.
I'm sorry. That was actually I went theater there. A theater and
even
theater.
Worse.
Yeah, right. There's no cameras.
There's no screen here.
What's up, Fuego?
I was actually just at the used bookstore the other day and looking at these Shakespeare versions of the Star Wars films that they have, and I'm like, what in God's name? Why?
I've always flipped through those. I've never been tempted to buy them, but they are a fun flip through.
Yeah, exactly right.
A white British actor played Michael Jackson in a biopic. Well, Michael Jackson's an interesting character, first of all. Angelina Jolie played a black woman in a biopic. No gripes. Yeah, it is strange. Biopic, excuse me.
Oh, and hell, then if we're gonna bring up that, we might as well bring up Whatchamadoodle, the Matrix guys movies. Cloud Atlas.
Yeah, yeah. Like, I don't know it. It's a really strange period we're in, where like casting decisions and like, listen, with hindsight, I want a new Jafar.
Oh,
but
definitely.
But because I've seen the movie and I thought he was kind of meh, I don't care if you make Jafar Lindsey. Just
I would knock that out of the park, sir.
Just give me a better Jafar, man.
Well,
if you will not bow before a sultan, then you will cower before a sorcerer. Genie, my second wish.
Start a petition right now to have the entire Aladdin film that's made all this money reshot
with Lindsey as Jafar. Let's get it going.
Yeah, this needs to happen.
Forget that remake The Last Jedi stuff. Let's remake Aladdin with Lindsey as.
Okay, no. So when the movie comes out on Blu-ray, let's just go through and airbrush him out, and then just green screen me in.
Needs to be a thing.
Do we have any other news to discuss, or anything?
I got one thing I read earlier. Go ahead, Fuego.
Well, I'm wondering if our minds are on the same thing, since we do cover a lot of horror, you and myself, CP. Samuel L. Jackson has been added to Chris Rock's Saw movie, playing his father, apparently, and nobody knows where the hell this is going to go and how weird and wacky it's going to be, but I don't know. It's almost like one of those, it sounds so bonkers and strange with what they're assembling together for a Saw movie of all things, that I'm totally okay with it.
So Chris Rock is in it as well as making it.
Exactly, yeah. So it was an original story idea from him, although it's being scripted by the two guys who did the most recent Jigsaw film, and then...
I didn't hate that.
Yeah, that was pretty good. The last one was all right.
It seems to me like they're kind of doing the same thing they did with this new Scream TV series, where they're making it, kind of African American centric, which is dope by me. I mean, shit, I'm totally okay with that.
Just make it good. I don't care. Just make it good.
Yeah, it's a franchise that I particularly love. I haven't really watched any of the Saw movies in earnest since the second one, with that scene where they throw the girl into the needles. It still makes my skin crawl when I think about it. But yeah, I mean, Samuel L. Jackson in a franchise of this notoriety, and with Chris Rock's association and stuff.
So neither Chris Rock or Samuel L. Jackson are Jigsaw, or do we not know any of that yet?
Presumably not.
Because I tell you what, the idea of Samuel L. as Jigsaw kind of turns me on. Like,
I'd be super down for that.
Yeah. Say what again?
Yeah, stepping in.
Well, sometimes he gets down low when he's got that. You know what I mean? He's got that could be really good for Jigsaw.
Sure he does.
Yeah, I'd be down. Wow, I'm excited now. I had heard that. I'd forgotten about that, but I'm super down. Let's do it.
What was your story, man?
Do you guys know the film studio STX?
Familiar.
Heard of.
Yeah, like the Bad Moms and Ugly Dolls, and earlier this year was the Upside? Those are all their movies. They're not doing so good as a studio. They're like putting out feelers for for a buyout, or for someone to come in and kind of take control. And they're kind of like the non-horror version of Blumhouse, I've always thought. Very small movies with big casts.
Upside was a huge success, though, right? Wasn't it, with Cranston?
One of their few successes. You are correct on that. Yeah, sorry, I meant to qualify that. But other than Bad Moms did okay, well enough to get a sequel, and the sequel did well enough that they got a third one coming out. But here, let's pull up some of their filmography.
Maybe they should stop doing the Canon Productions playbook, and then actually, I think MoviePass did a really good job of being Canon Productions. So.
Oh well, that was also a story this week, is the fact that MoviePass is putting them they're putting their services on hold for a couple weeks or something.
Oh, are they?
Amazing. I'm still surprised with A-List and with some of the other things that are available now, like how they're even still a thing. Because I had MoviePass a couple years ago. when you
We all did. Yeah.
at one particular point. But
Yeah, it's
I held on to it longer than I should have, just to see if it would fix itself and pull it, but it didn't. So I ditched it.
Wasn't it right around this time last year where they ran into problems and whenever Mission Impossible Fallout came out, they lost money, and then everybody's like, well, wait a minute, this is pointless, this service.
well, and then they tried to pull a Redbox / Netflix, and the Gotti movie was one of theirs, right?
Yeah.
Correct. And the
So-
vehicle. So.
Yeah, they doubled down on that hard, trying to make that a thing, and that did not work out for them. I got a list of some STX movies though, and it should explain a lot. Well, I mean, just listen to some of these movies: The Happy Time Murders, Mile 22, I Feel Pretty, Valerian, The Circle, The Bye Bye Man, The Space Between Us. Like, these are all not very good movies that did not make a lot of money. But they also did make The Edge of 17 and Desierto, which are two movies I actually did really like.
Valerian probably hurt them because
Yeah.
they probably put a bunch of money in that, thinking that it would have been.
I actually really liked Desierto. I thought that was a pretty awesome movie. That was with Negan, right?
Exactly. That was the reason I saw it. And I'm like, oh, this is amazing. Also, it's Alfonso Cuarón's son. So I'm like,
Damn.
yeah,
Nepotism.
right.
Yeah, and I mean, based on the area of the country that we're both in, Lindsey, we know that that's real stuff that we encounter in Cali and Arizona all the goddamn time. So
pretty often. And I don't know. Yeah, it was just a surprisingly well-made movie. I just saw it out of curiosity one night, and I really liked it. Yeah.
Do you know, it just hit me that our upcoming weekend is so strong that we totally forgot to talk about both films that are coming out this weekend.
Oh, we did.
Yeah,
So,
You're absolutely right.
do you want to talk about the comedy or the thriller first? Because they're both going to be indistinct and gone within 3 weeks. But
3, you're being generous, my friend.
yeah, I'd say more like 2, if even that. But I mean, Subaru is getting some decent buzz. That's our vehicle with Batista once again trying to flex his comedic muscles, so to speak. And
go ahead, pronounce his name. I don't know how to pronounce his name.
Batista, the comedian from Silicon Valley, whose name
Kumar.
Kumar Nyagi?
Just Kumar. Yeah, Kumar. Yeah, Kumar.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he's also
was,
that little thing in Men in Black.
Yeah.
He was.
He had the Amazon film that he co-wrote with his wife, who's also a
Which is
comedian.
good. That's a good movie.
I want to say
The Big Sick. Yep.
Nanjiani, that's his name. Kumar Nanjiani. That's it. Okay. But yeah, I don't know. Like, I watched the Stu Bar trailer, and I just count the number of times they say Uber. But I guess that's just how it goes.
Yeah, I had press for it last Wednesday, and I don't know. After just the busy weekend of Mad Monster and all this other stuff, I was like, I don't really want to drive 45 minutes to the other side of the valley to see this movie. It's not of the utmost imperative nature. So.
It's so funny how, I feel like a jerk sometimes. And I'm like, yeah, I'm a free movie early, but I really don't want to see it. And then I hear it out of your mouth, and it's like, all right, well, it's not that bad. I did the same thing.
I don't know, sir.
Yeah, I did the same thing for Yesterday, and it was like a month early, and I'm like, I don't want to take a late train just for Yesterday.
Oh wait, I'm sorry. Whoever said it was Kumail Nanjiani. It's not Kumar. It's Kumail Nanjiani. Yeah, that was bugging me. Something didn't sound right. I wanted to write the record on that. Okay.
Well, you excited about Stuber, Lindsey?
Batista continues to impress, man. I did not think he'd be great in Guardians of the Galaxy. He was amazing. He was also amazing in Blade Runner 2049. So,
yeah,
I'm not gonna put it past him. But I watched that trailer, and I'm just counting the number of times I hear the word Uber. So, like, when I watch the movie, I'm probably gonna do the same thing.
Is there anybody worthwhile behind it? Do we have a writer-director?
The director is Michael Dowse, and the screenplay was written by Tripper Clancy.
Okay, not familiar with either.
Yeah, I was going to say neither noteworthy names.
I would have said different things for Crawl, at least.
Well, Crawl is one that I'm especially excited about because...
Excited, really? Is that the word you'd use?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
I'm excited for that movie, man. I mean, I'm not anticipating Shakespearean theater like we were discussing earlier or anything of that nature, but I mean, as long as it's really violent and I mean, just like people getting chomped on by creatures, even if they are of this world, hey, Hard Rain meets what
Lake Placid.
So it's I'm honestly very excited about that film. I'm disappointed that we're not getting one of those freebie screenings for it. Now that does make you worry that they're hiding it from the critics, but nonetheless, yeah, that's one that I just want good violent fun, and I'll be accepting. I mean, there was a shark movie from about a decade ago that had Sam Worthington, I want to say in it maybe. It was basically it took place in Australia, and this whole grocery store gets flooded after a tsunami, and then a bunch of great white sharks end up in this grocery store. And I was getting a similar vibe of sorts to this, which is fine by me.
Okay.
So.
Wow, I kind of want to see the Great White movie too, but yeah, Crawl looks fun. I'm definitely down for horror. It doesn't have to be, ghostly horror. I'm down for just alligators eating people. That's cool. Maybe this will lead to alligator tornado, or something like that.
Yeah, Clownado, wasn't that one that recently came out too? They're just.
Was that a thing?
It was totally a thing, dude.
Wow, I love people.
Thank you,
people.
Paul, in the chat. Bait 3D is what you're talking about.
Bait. Yes, I was actually just trying to search on IMDb for the title of it right now. Bait was fun, man. Oh, I like that.
That's funny.
Lord Shine dropping in with it. Yep, they're all dropping in. A little bit of a delay, guys. Sorry. So let's cut both Spider-Man and Toy Story in half. 45 and about 18 are either Stuber or Crawl. Well, I'll start at 18. Are either of them making 18?
Probably not. I'd say 15. I mean, 12 to 15 maybe. Spider-Man is going to continue to crush, and especially since it has all that positive word of mouth going for it right now too. I think anybody who was either out of town last weekend for the 4th or whatever, that didn't see it, or all of the repeat viewers, there's still a part of me that wants to go and rewatch it. There's nothing that interesting coming out this week besides the 2 we mentioned. I have 3 on my A-list each week, man. So what am I going to do? Probably go rewatch Spider-Man. So.
Lindsey. You could say no, it's fine.
I mean, they're horror and they're comedy, both of which have the ability to, good word of mouth really kind of boost them up. But I'm going to have to go with no. I've just been thinking about it. I don't feel confident.
I'll tell you what's weird. I don't know what it says about horror as a genre, or these studios getting this confident that they're just throwing horror after horror after horror. But I gotta feel like Joe Sixpack is gonna feel a little saturated when it comes to Child's Play, Annabelle, now Crawl, and I think the week after we got another one too. Don't we have The Boy in the next week or 2?
Oh, do we? Let me find out.
Looking right now myself.
I didn't see it. We got Lion King, we got Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, Fast and the Furious.
Still a couple weeks away from Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark. I want to say that's at the beginning of August. But
yeah, and Midsommar this week too. It just Midsommar's a completely different beast altogether. But I don't know what it says that they're just chucking all this against the wall, because I don't know. I don't know what my point is. I don't think it's right, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Enough, spread it out, guys. What happened to releasing the horror movies in January, February, March? I guess the problem is people got a little arrogant with their comic movies in February, and now everybody's all over the place.
Honestly, I think everybody saw the Blumhouse model, with small production budget, making mad money, spend $3 to $5 million on a movie, get 20, 30, 40 back, and you're just like, okay, this is counter programming to the superhero culture. But in the same right, when there's so many of them out, like you were just saying, I mean, between Midsommar and Child's Play and Annabelle, these are all still in theaters, and then throw a Gator movie out there now too.
Yeah.
I love the way you throw that. Just throw the Gator movie in there somewhere.
Why the hell not?
Yeah, and it's it. We still got It in September, which I mean, I don't know. I mean, there's no such thing as superhero fatigue. because they still make money. So I'm curious to see if maybe somebody's just like, you know what, I already watched Child's Play, I already watched Us, I'm going to take a break on the It.
You know, a film that comes out in limited release this week that I actually saw back in April at the Phoenix Film Festival that I have to really recommend. It's called The Farewell, and it's A24 Asian ensemble kind of dramedy bit of sorts, and really terrific, and just interesting to see the counterbalance of Eastern versus like Western culture as far as when you have a terminally ill relative, and the way you kind of try to conceal that information. And I mean, it's both English and Chinese subtitled with the Mandarin, and it's a great cast. It's funny, it's sad, and it's
I just saw a trailer for that today. That looked really good.
It's awesome. It's maybe one of my favorites that I saw on the festival circuit earlier this year. So it's not
okay.
It's very solid, very good.
I was worried it might be a little sappy, but okay, no, cool. I'm excited. I just watching the trailer when I saw Midsommar today. I'm like, I really want to see that. Cool. I'm excited.
Yeah, definitely not what you would typically expect from A24, since they primarily delve into the horror-centric stuff. This is just full-on ensemble drama, with some very comedic elements, and I mean, the cast is great. Everybody is really, really great in it.
I would say A24 is like a more refined Miramax.
In some ways, yeah.
That's interesting.
They've made their name with. I mean, when the highest grossing film in your production house is Hereditary, which is an art house horror film. But it's.
Wait, did they do Swiss Army Man?
I believe they did.
A Green Room, I think, is them too, right?
Corpse film. Yep, they did Green Room. They did The Monster, Black Coat's Daughters. Primarily horror stuff, but they have tried to. I mean, Ghost Story wasn't really horror per se. It was more just like full.
What about The Favorite? Aren't they The Favorite?
I believe so.
Yeah, they get around, but you're right. Their successes appear to be like their heavy successes. The
Shallows.
The Shallows was A24.
Yeah.
Wow. All right.
I love that movie. I'm pretty sure it was.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah, let's get a list of A24 movies up here. I mean, they make so many. Yeah, Ghost Story, Good Time, The Witch. It Comes at Night.
Yeah,
I love that movie. Mid-90s.
Oh, the Jonah Hill movie.
Yeah, one of the dramas that I still haven't watched. I guess
Moonlight
was favorite was Fox Searchlight, so that was still checking.
Yeah. Lobster, Room, Green Room. Yeah, Green Room was done too.
Oscar bait.
Right, The Lobster. Yeah, thinking of Yorgos and his weird films.
Yes.
Oh, Ex Machina was them too.
Yeah. A24 doesn't mess around, man. They're
Spring Breakers, The Rover, Under the Skin. God dang, man. I love these guys.
Yeah.
Okay.
So what are we doing this week, guys? Other than watching
Stranger Things?
Stupid. Yeah, I gotta catch up. I don't know if I'm gonna.
I still got like 3 episodes left. I can't wait to power through them, and then I don't know. I guess I'll flip a coin Thursday night and see which one I go to.
Really that close, huh?
It's gonna be a call for me for sure.
Cool.
Yeah. Although that was a horror show, and then I'll do a Stuber review, I would imagine, on Fuego-tainment. So yeah, have that nice counterbalance going down.
Yeah, I guess I'd be more down for Crawl. Just I don't know. We'll see what the word of mouth on Stuber is, but probably Crawl.
Yeah, I agree. I think I might let the buzz dictate. Not in any rush to see anything Thursday. I'll say that much. Which is the first time in a very long time that I'm not really jumping out of my socks to see something after my sour experience today. Thanks, Jason Blum.
Meh.
Your name is on a list somewhere. Jason Blum's enemies.
So other than that, we got anything to plug on the respective channels?
When I finish Stranger Things season 3, whenever that ends up being, I'm already starting to plan out a video on it. It's been very interesting considering the last couple of videos I've made on Stranger Things, how some things have turned out, but I'm loving it, and I just want more. I want more. I want season 4 the moment season 3 is over. Like, I'm addicted.
Okay.
And that's actually where they're saying they're capping it off, if I recall correctly, right? They're like 4 seasons, and that's it. But who knows if it just continues being this massive success? Like, they'll probably.
They better find something to do with all these other things popping up to compete with.
Right. Also, the kids are getting pretty old.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Good point.
the streaming arm race is like approaching, with Universal having their streaming service, with Disney Plus obviously coming, and various others. It's going to be like a crowded pool.
Mm-hmm.
And Netflix is losing The Office in 2021, so Netflix will be dead. I'm kidding. They'll be fine, but
I don't know if fine's the word I'd use, but they're going to have to, start spending a little bit more carefully.
I was about to say, but not more. That's the problem. They throw too much money at stuff and it ends up bad.
I saw some number that said that Adam Sandler movie was viewed by like 39 million people, and I want genuine math on that. How many stuck around and watched the whole thing, and
how many people fell asleep and the movie just auto started because it was doing that for like a solid month?
Yeah,
well, and that's the thing, Netflix doesn't make their numbers public, and so it's just pure speculation.
Yeah.
And so, what else can you really do beyond that? Well, I didn't think the whatever Jennifer Aniston one looked very good at all. I was just like, ugh. Yeah. Mm-hmm. If I'm just bored one night, but I have so much stuff already to watch. I know the report that I saw this past week was that Triple Frontier, which had that stacked cast, was a big time failure for them, and so they're trying to be more. Oh yeah.
It's a good movie.
In anticipated viewership, Ben Affleck and various others.
Yeah. I'm drawing a blank now too. No, it's a good time.
Yeah, I'm like Poe's in it. Who else? Affleck at the top billing, but yeah, they're going to be more careful with just massive spending on some of these projects if they're not going to get the anticipated returns. But not every studio, for God's sake. So,
it is funny how they do release the figures when something does well. Like Bright did, they released that Bright did about Thor Ragnarok numbers, and then when Bird Box was on everyone's mind, they did like, hey, 50 billion people watch Bird Box.
They just did about Stranger Things season 3. It was either yesterday or today, and they were just like, tens of millions have watched it in the first couple of days and so on. So, yeah, successful, I suppose. But
what about you, Fuego? What do you got coming up?
Well, a big just kind of labor of love just debuted on the Horror Show channel this past weekend. So in the year of 19, Stephen King, 19 is a big year for him as far as his lore and his multiverse mythology goes. We finally put up the panel that I did at the artist formerly known as Phoenix Comic Con. Now it's called Phoenix Fan Fusion. But so we debuted that panel where I'm talking all about all of the Psy-King properties that we're getting later this year, from a few things on TV like Creepshow on Shudder, a third season of Mr. Mercedes on the AT&T Audience Network. But we preview It Chapter 2. We also discuss Dr. Sleep, and so that was a fun time. And then really it's just Stuber later this weekend, finally getting a review of Toy Story 4 up, which I finally watched, and I think Toy Story 4 might be my favorite after the first one, and even more so than 3.
Wow.
I liked it a lot more than I was anticipating, based on just the way they approach the villain, and even more so a character quandary that happens with Tom Hanks' Woody, and I kind of felt a little bit more of a resonance with that, even compared to the crazy, dumpster fire of the end of the third film. So,
All right. And
good stuff.
I have another episode of Who Would Like That. I'm covering Audition. This should be out this week.
Ooh, okay.
Yay! Fun date movie, everyone. Audition, Japanese horror at its finest. Other than that, we'll see you next week with these glorious numbers for Stuber and Crawl. For Fuego and Lindsey, I've been CP. Thanks to everybody in the YouTube chat. If you're listening every Monday night, 9 p.m. Eastern on the WILIscredia YouTube channel. And if you're watching and you want to listen while you're doing your workout or driving to work, Show Business is the name of the podcast. Thanks again.